You're listening to episode 77 of Lifestyle Locker Radio with Dr. Steve Judson.
I'm watching Jacob's Ladder, and there's a badass scene, man, where he kicks open the door of a hospital and he drags his patient out, brings him back and adjusts him, and the dude just like wakes up and walks away. And I decided right then and there I was going to be a chiropractor.
Hi, I'm Dr. Josh Hand, and welcome to the Lifestyle Locker Radio, where we dive into what makes an awesome lifestyle. From relationships to money mindset, nutrition to fitness, emotional health to peak performance, we bring you on an amazing journey to unleashing your human potential. So here's a little bit about our guest, Dr. Steve Judson. He's a chiropractic educator, a trainer, and one of the top speakers at chiropractic seminars and health events around the world. Dr. Judson's passion is to help humans heal from within, unleash their innate healing power, and reach their fullest potential through chiropractic. Since 2002, Dr. Judson has practiced chiropractic in Newington, Connecticut, where he is the owner and operator of one of the largest chiropractic offices in the U.S. As an upper cervical specialist and a trainer of chiropractors, Dr. Judson preaches and practices a hardcore, pull-no-punches approach to human health focused around one single burning question: how's your atlas? He travels the world educating doctors and patients around the human body's innate wisdom to heal itself via the central nervous system and the supreme importance of the atlas bone, which is the very first bone in the neck. His movement, Wake Up Humans, is devoted to helping men, women, and children discover their destinies and unlock the incredible healing power inherent within every human body. Dr. Judson's mission has taken him around the world to Russia, Central America, Tobago, and the Dominican Republic. His books, Wake Up Humans and Atlas Adjusted, are tools designed to spread the message of the chiropractic principle and its ability to manifest ultimate human abundance. His greatest source of pride is his incredible family, his wife Tammy, and their 5 beautiful children, Kylie, Sierra, Brooke, Kane, and Jamie. So here's our guest today, Dr. Steve Judson. All right, everybody, in the locker room today, we have Dr. Steve Judson. So, Steve, welcome.
Hey, big man, it's good to be here, bro.
Dude, super excited for what you're up to and what's going on in your life now. I mean, you have 2 books out, one that's directed towards chiropractors, one that's directed towards the rest of the world. All right,
that's
which
right.
I think is so cool, and I think chiropractors are going to get information, are going to learn from both. But definitely, I want to talk about your Wake Up Humans. So, tell us a little bit about before we get into the book. Tell me a little bit about your story. Like, what got you, or what made you want to write a book? I mean, first of all, it's not easy work.
No, it's not. It's a lot of work. And what made me want to do it, it was, after going around speaking, doing a lot of speaking engagements to big chiropractic groups, people would come up to me afterward, many of them in tears, and say, you need to write a book. You need to write a book. And that went on for years. So what I started doing was compiling audio of talks that we were doing and just started stacking them and coming up with ideas. And one thing led to another. Then once we lock and loaded and said we're going to do this, it was full throttle for almost 2 years of putting this thing together.
Very cool. So 2 years of putting a book together. I mean, were you listening to the audios as you were writing the book? You listening to yourself speak? No.
Well, we printed up a lot of them, and then the concepts. You come with 1,000 pages of stuff, and then the big question is, who's your audience? What's the message? And that was the toughest part. It was narrowing it down because it's really everybody's the audience.
Yes.
Every human being needs to hear this message, and it's a time that's come, and this book is helping. A lot of chiropractors are now purchasing it for the patients to help educate them and wake them up and help them hear and feel what we're communicating to them.
That's great. So then I want to kind of go way back in time here. So I want you to tell a little bit of a story, a little bit of your backstory, if you don't mind. I've heard it before, from the stage from you and talking to you in person, but what made you want to become a chiropractor? Because I know our audience has heard, a handful of other chiropractors on the call, all with similar philosophy, different messages, maybe different the stories are a little different, but you have a pretty unique, pretty interesting story. What made you get into chiropractic college? Or chiropractic, I should say, period.
It was, yeah, man, I kind of backed into it. It was, my dream was to be a professional baseball player. And, I had a little bite at it, and, a couple teams kind of looking at me, and then I blew out my shoulder. And I lost that dream real fast. I went from throwing pretty good fastball to throwing nothing, and just kind of found myself in college just trying to just get through. I was an English major. It came relatively easy to me. And in the process, I have an older brother named Ronnie who was an amazing athlete, amazing student, Ivy League student, 3 fluent languages, was a linebacker in football, went to University of Pennsylvania, injured his neck, and it changed the entire course of not only his life, but my family's life. And he went from being this amazing human being to being locked up in a psychiatric hospital.
Wow.
And, we at the time had no idea what was happening. It was just one of those things where maybe he snapped. It was a chemical imbalance. We met with top psychiatrists in New York, Cornell Medical, and, they basically said, we have no idea what goes on here. And they just drug the crap out of you and lock you up. It's a glorified prison. And years later, by chance, I'm driving through the Bronx, and a guy jumps in my Jeep. He needs a ride, and tells me he's going to see his chiropractor. His chiropractor saved his life, and he needed to get there. His car had broken down. And this was in a part of my life where I was trying to figure out what I wanted to do. My father had some connections on Wall Street. I didn't want to be a suit and tie guy. I didn't want to be taking the train to Manhattan every day. My father did that. That wasn't me. And my mother used to always tell me, you should be a chiropractor. She was working part-time for a guy, this guy, Gregory Gumbrick, who I just met up with by accident when I was speaking in Florida this past year. It was pretty cool.
That's funny.
He was my initial voice in my mother's ear that put the word chiropractic into my family. And, long story short, 2 days later, I'm watching Jacob's Ladder, and there's a badass scene, man, where he kicks open the door of a hospital and he drags his patient out, brings him back and adjusts him. And the dude just wakes up and walks away. And I decided right then and there I was going to be a chiropractor. Went to Life University, and my first quarter of school, I go to Dynamic Essentials, which is a big chiropractic conference for people that don't know. And I hear these people talking about the atlas and the upper cervical and how it shuts down life, and all the research in chiropractic in this place called Clearview Sanitarium that was a chiropractic psychiatric hospital. And it just dropped in on me right there. This is why I was here. This is what I need to do. And I researched it, and I dug out information. And back then it wasn't as easy. We didn't have all the Google stuff that we have now. And I talked to a lot of chiropractors, and they're like, yeah, it's pretty awesome stuff. Those people are just too hard to work with. So they chose not to. And I made it my life mission to do that. And that's what the Wake Up Humans movement is about, is one, to wake up chiropractors that we could take care of the really sick and suffering people and help them get well. And also for the lay people, because my family didn't hear about this option. It wasn't an option. No one educated my family about chiropractic care and the atlas and what it does and how it changes the chemistry in the body. It's putting pressure on the brainstem. So it destroyed my family. And I had to make an option. I could let it destroy me, or I could be part of a movement and create something, which I had no idea at the time, to help change people's lives and bring this message to humanity. And that's what we're doing.
Yeah, so you create, well, before the book, so you started practice, you started to actually see, I'm sure, these shifts in your own patients, right?
Oh, man, it's like, BJ Palmer, who researched this, when I read the research, he said it was like people waking up from a dream. And I literally had people come back the next day after their first adjustment and say they felt like they woke up from a dream. And I honestly felt like I was in a dream. I'm like, is this for real? And, you had people that were, hearing voices or suicidal that changed their entire life by getting their system clear, their nervous system clear. So, yeah, I saw it firsthand. People say, do you have any more research? I said, well, talk to my patients.
Yeah. So let's circle back again for a second. We're diving right in, and I think this is cool because patients. I'm being my chiropractic head for a second. The people, the audience that's listening from Lifestyle Locker are going, wait, hold on. People are getting adjusted. They're getting better from psychiatric conditions. This doesn't make sense in their head. So just can you dive a little bit, even to the book, or into a little bit the research or even your understanding of how chiropractic, how a chiropractic adjustment, finding the chiropractor that can do this specific scientific adjustment can actually clear this problem and make changes. Can you kind of dive into like what's actually going on?
Well, like you alluded to there, the people are saying, how can this happen, right? Because people are programmed to think that we're given a condition and we have to treat it from the outside in, right? So a doctor will very astutely name something and say, okay, here's how we're going to treat that thing. And what chiropractic has done is says, well, why has this thing developed? Why is the body not adapting? Why is the body not restoring? And let's take away the label. Let's change the story of what's going on with that human being and say, well, what if there's interference coming from within? And that's where the principle of chiropractic tells us that the body's pretty intelligent, right? It created itself from a sperm and an egg, and within 9 months, you've got a human being with a heart, liver, kidneys, and it's near perfect. The governing system is the nervous system. So if you've got interference, and we're going to talk about the brain stem, over 450 million nerve fibers cross over right here. Everybody knows Christopher Reeves. He damaged up here. He couldn't move his feet, couldn't move his legs, couldn't digest his food. He was sick all the time because he damaged up here. So when you look at the principle of what the brainstem does to govern every system of the body to make sure it needs to do what it needs to do, that if that thing is clear, your life potential is just elevated and better. So the lay people just have to open up to the possibility of what makes me tick from within? What's telling my body what to do? How does my body know how to digest? If I jump on a treadmill and I start banging out an exercise in my heart, how come it doesn't blow up and shut down? How can it adapt? It's because the nervous system's regulating it. So when you look at something as severe, I tell patients all the time, that's just the way the body's expressing itself down the leg. But if you've got a mental interference, you've got a psychiatric thing that they're now labeling you with, it's something that's happening upstairs. It's not happening downstairs. It's just a different distortion that's expressing itself in a different way, right? So when we go on a chemical level, people say you got a chemical imbalance. Well, what controls the chemistry of the body is your glands. So if the glands aren't functioning 100%, your chemistry will be imbalanced. The obvious question is what controls the glands, and that's your nervous system. Right? Particularly the brainstem is what's telling the glands to give more or take away more chemicals so that the body can adapt and live to its fullest potential. Right? So if the nerve system's 100%, the glands are 100%, your chemistry is 100%, your performance will be near perfect. But there's this thing called subluxation, man, and you know what that is. And this is what every human being needs to learn. And when it happens at the atlas level, which is why our tagline is house your atlas. So if that brainstem is being interfered with a subluxation, and now your glands aren't getting proper nerve flow and communication supply, and now your chemistry is imbalanced, your performance is off. And you go to a doctor and you say, I don't feel right. I'm hearing voices. I don't feel well. I've got anxiety. They're going to say, okay, I heard your story. I've got a drug for you. Mm-hmm. And the chiropractor says, time out, man. Let's try to restore this flow, this connection, this mental impulse that's telling the body what needs to be done, and see if it can restore itself naturally on its own. Because that same power that created a baby within 9 months is still resonating in that body. We just got to amp it up and get that thing firing at a higher level.
Yeah, it's like the body's been slowly getting turned off. With with subluxation, like you were saying, it's pretty amazing. And what I want people to realize is, like he's talking about people that may have hear these voices in their head. You can have that subluxation and not even know it.
Yeah, it's silent,
which is scary, right? So
silent.
I was talking to a patient yesterday, and I said, yeah, this patient that came in and happened to be in pain, and I'm like, what do you do? It's like, well, I sneezed. I go, isn't that interesting? So this sneeze, hurt your whole body now?
Right.
No, this, and then we go through the whole story. But, we as a society, it's kind of crazy that we've been taught that the body, and I love how you use the word, how intelligent the body is. We've been taught that we're dumb, right? We're dumb, but the body is dumb. It needs something from the outside to kind of try to fix something, or to take away something, take away a symptom. Or if we can't figure it out, we cut it out. And you've seen this time and time again since you're working with some people that have some serious things going on. Not necessarily we'll just say a sciatic pain or a low back pain or neck pain or a headache. Like people may think that's all we do. You're clearing subluxations, and we're seeing this in our practice as well. And people are shifting. And I think the message really is that you got to get checked. We got to wake up. I'm looking at your shirt right now. In the book, it's we just got to wake up to the possibility that there is something different out there that's going to work, where we don't have to be chemically sedated for the rest of our lives?
You know, you look at what they're doing with children, man. And I got 5 kids who have never needed a drug in their life, other than one who needed elbow surgery. She had broken her elbow. So they sedated her, but she didn't even take pain pills. She refused it on her own. And, you know, we're not a hero for that, but it's trying to teach this lifestyle to the kids, to listen to your body and allow your body the chance to heal itself. And, you know, one of the blessings I'm seeing as my kids get older, my oldest is 16, and they're going to mess up, and I'm sure kids are going to try to do stuff, you know, when they go off in high school. They're surrounded by it. But it's really having faith in their body and also trusting the body's wisdom and respecting it. You know, respect the body. That if you're having a bad day, because I tell my kids all the time, life sucks, man. Life's going to come at you. You're going to get tired. You're going to get stressed out. How are you going to adapt to that? What's going to be your choice? And my kids will say, Dad, can you check me? Dad, how's my atlas? Dad, you know, my daughter's a national soccer player, and she'll, after a hard game hitting it, she'll come in, throw her stuff down and say, Dad, can you check me? And walk in the room and lay on the table. Mm-hmm. That's just their program, man. They're trained innately. You know, I'm not shoving it down their throat. They've just seen it. They've seen it and they know the results. My blessing to society is this: make this part of your regime. You don't have to believe in it, but I challenge every human being, get under proper chiropractic care for 6 months. And if your life doesn't change, man, then bag it. Say it didn't work. But you can't go 2 or 3 times and say, oh, it's not working. I'm going to go have someone stretch me out or take a pill. You got to let your body have time to heal. And it takes a minimum of 6 times to wake that thing up, especially if you're over 30 years old, for crying out loud.
Yeah, right. How many mental, physical, chemical injuries has a person had by the time if they're 10 years old, let alone now with what goes into kids, you know, it 1-year-old.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And I like that you said that you got to make this a lifestyle. This is not, you know, a quick fix. This is, I mean, granted, I mean, there are people that have major injuries that feel good, like, you know, that wake up right after one adjustment, like, holy cow. Yeah. Was that all the dream that I was in? But
Josh, that's the beauty of what we do, man. I think this is what the humans need to understand: is no chiropractor is going to heal you.
Yes.
Right? Steve Judson doesn't go in and heal all these people. Now, I could give testimonials of sick and dying people that are still alive because their body got clear. And I tell them firsthand, I'll take responsibility, man, because I'm connected. I'm a good adjuster. I know what I'm doing. I know when to and when not to. But their body does the work. The key for me is to know when to leave it alone and know that this is clear. When this is clear, that's where the magic happens, right? So you may get someone, I get people on 30 medications come in our office. You know what? They get down to 3 medications and their doctor says, but we're going to have to keep you on those the rest of your life because of materialistic damage that's happening in the body. I'm good with that. Yeah. I'm good with that, you know, because for some people it's just too late to make full restoration, which is why I'm after the babies and kids and the families and the young moms, man, to just get this now. I promise you won't be upset.
Yeah. I mean, to see, I mean, even in practice a lot longer than I have, but you know, the stuff that we get to see that I have seen, you know, there was a video put up of me on YouTube. God, I think, you know, Joe Hudak in New Jersey took a picture of me on a mission trip. I adjusted a gentleman probably in his 40s in the Dominican Republic or Haiti. I don't remember which one. I think Dominican Republic, had a facial twitch for 35 years. Yeah. We gave him an atlas adjustment and his face stopped twitching, you know, and amazing, the you know, and people can't see me doing this, but the person that was translating for us was shaking, like pointing at the guy's face after. And I turned around, I thought something bad happened, you know, in my head, like this guy's freaking out, but this guy's face was like normal, you know, and that was like, we talk about the power of one adjustment. And I don't know, this is a humanitarian trip. I don't know if this guy ever got adjusted again, but that just shifted his life. Right then and there, it pivoted. What's different for this guy now? So like you say, taking care of a baby, and I know some people listening that might be like, wait, you're going to adjust a baby? Like, why? Talk to me. Like this kind of dive into this, because some people, this may be their first time listening to us or listening to Lifestyle Locker, and I want to make sure people kind of understand some of the concept, the why. Like, why would I bring my newborn to a chiropractor? Why would that be the first thing I should do?
Well, the biggest thing is to understand the atlas, which is what we talked about. And what the atlas protects, it protects the brain stem, which governs the entire human body, right? So if that atlas canal is free, you're better off. If it's distorted, if it's out of alignment, if it's subluxated, there's going to be a problem, right? So now if you look at the birth process, okay, and I don't know how raw you get on this show, bro, but I know they make oils and ointments. They got oils and ointments and stuff to make things go in easier because you're going into a little canal, man, right? And it's like you want to cut friction down and you've got a little space that wants to get filled. You need to lubricate that baby. Well, how about a baby coming out of that thing? What does it take? The mounds a pound of pressure for a human being, a head, shoulders, pelvis, and legs to come out of that little space, right? One, it's a lot on the woman, right? Which is why they need to be getting adjusted all through pregnancy and post. But that little baby's head, the pressure it takes to traction out that head, twist the neck, and pull the shoulders out, usually about 180 degrees, 90 degrees each way. What is that doing to that little baby's spine? And I'll tell fathers when they come in with their arms crossed, and I had a guy come in, his baby was having seizures, and he didn't want to get the babies adjusted. He was scared stiff. So I said, have him come in and talk to me. And I said, listen, if you're holding that baby in the grocery store in your arms and some dude came up and pulled on your baby's neck and turned it 90 degrees, what would you do? I'd knock him out. I said, well, that's what the doctor did, man. That's how they had to get your baby out of the canal. Now, this baby actually had forceps, so it was even more pressure, right? So it's close to 100, 120 pounds of torque pressure pulling on that little baby's neck. What is that doing to the baby's atlas? Yeah. That's all we have to ask. And if that atlas is out of alignment, and like you said, you don't know it unless it's getting checked, and it's just laying there dormant, and that kid wakes up 5, 6, 7 years old, they can't focus in school, they're just not sleeping well, they're colicky, they're angry, and we don't know why. It's supposed to be a loving, nurturing human being, but that kid was subluxated at birth and didn't have a chance. So we got to go in there and tap that atlas real gently. It's real gentle. When I adjusted this guy's baby, he couldn't believe it. And 3 days later, when he came back and that baby had no seizures for 3 days, he was crying. And his whole family's under care now. So that's the principle. It's proof in the pudding.
Yeah. So paint the picture for me, because I know the media has kind of made adjustments look weird. For those that have never been adjusted, what if you can kind of like with words describe what adjusting a newborn may like even feel like or look like when you're adjusting an atlas?
What I tell our parents is if you take a marshmallow and hold it between your fingertips, and you put just enough pressure on that marshmallow to make an indentation and then release it, that's about as much pressure as we're using. Now, the chiropractor is trained to be in depth and in tune with the baby's breathing and the positioning of that bone and how much torque to put in the finger to unlock it. That's the whole key, is we need to unlock it. And the problem with the atlas is it moves three-dimensionally, so you just can't go in and just randomly try to hit that thing because it needs a three-dimensional movement. But it's about as much pressure to indent a marshmallow. I have babies come in sound asleep and they don't even wake up. And once that thing releases, it's on its own. And the beauty is babies hold their adjustments pretty long. When you start them out, you're not adjusting that thing every day, 3 days a week, twice. They hold their adjustment. And when you go back to the chiropractor and he checks them and says, they're clear, they don't need an adjustment, it's beautiful. It's absolutely beautiful.
That's so neat. That's so neat. And for you chiros that are listening, this is so powerful, isn't it? What you get to do is a professional, as someone that's, I don't know if I can use the word healer, because like we said, we're not doing the healing, but we're kind of the catalyst to change. And I hope these chiros are getting this message, because if you're not taking care of kids, you need to, if you don't know how to take care of kids, learn, because they're just small people, right? They're just small people. Yeah. That's all they are. So let's dive in a little bit more, because, besides these crazy conditions and seizures and things that are going on with, adults and kids, like what else why would someone say, listen, I'm an athlete, I'm doing awesome, I'm really fit, I eat organic food, blah, 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 all of these things. Why would I see a chiropractor?
It's all about performance, right? So the guy that's out there, I take care of a lot of triathletes and I take care of professional athletes, and it doesn't matter. It all comes down to, in my world, is the atlas. Now you could get into pelvis and function and structure. I get all that, but the big picture is, how does the body know the difference between an apple and a Twinkie? It's all perception and recognition, which is designed through the central nervous system. So that nerve system really can't process itself, and it's distorted. It's like having a static radio, a static cell phone, a static Wi-Fi connection. I joke with my kids, and I say your friends are more worried about their Wi-Fi connection than their atlas listing, which is the positioning of their atlas. If you're not connected, then your body doesn't know the difference between an apple and a Twinkie. right? It's breaking things down, and it's using chemicals to make heart, liver, kidney tissue, and it's going to affect your performance down the road. So you could be a vegetarian. If you're subluxated, your body's not processing the food and using the chemicals as well as it need to, which is why you could be a vegetarian marathon runner and still have a heart attack at 30 years old or die young, because maybe your body wasn't processing and adapting the way it was supposed to and the way it was designed to.
So an athlete, let's say I'm going to use myself as an example, even though I get adjusted every single week. I have an ultra marathon coming up in 3 weeks from now.
Right.
Would I still be going to the chiropractor the same way as I would maybe, like, let's say I'm going for quote unquote wellness care.
Yeah.
I get taking care of my lifestyle. Would I be doing it different now as my life is kind of getting more crazy?
Absolutely. Well, the knee-jerk answer is absolutely.
Okay.
But the relationship comes between you and your chiropractor. How are you holding your adjustment?
Perfect. That's what
Does
I
that
wanted
make
to hear.
sense?
Yeah.
So you got chemical, physical, emotional stress, but everybody adapts differently. So you could have, a lot of my guys that do construction or out there banging rocks and building and using their body hold their adjustment better than the dude that's sitting behind a computer selling stocks. Right? And it's just the way our bodies are designed to move and lift and run and jump and fall and get hit. We're designed for that, and it actually feeds energy into the body and has it dealt, from my experience, on a higher level. The people that are toxic and not moving, man, they're like, they don't hold their adjustments because they're not burning off the energy that the body's starving to do.
Yeah, it's almost like thinking of like static water, like a cesspool, like breeding bed.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's pretty wild. So talk to us a little bit about, a little bit more about Wake Up Humans, because I want to get people to buy this book. I know we're going to send them over it's on sale on Amazon, right?
Amazon. Yep.
So talk to us a little bit more, kind of give us like a synopsis of what kind of journey they're going to go on as they start to like break into this book.
So according to my mother-in-law, the first chapter starts out a little slow because we get into the little technical stuff that's going to lay the foundation for the rest of the book. And then you can't put it down. People are reading the book within a day. They just say once they start, they're up. They want to go to sleep, but they don't want to put it down, which to me, that's the greatest compliment anyone could give, because one of the things you worry about when you write a book is I hope it doesn't suck. But it obviously doesn't, because people are referring friends, and apparently it's rocking. I don't know the stats. I don't want to know them. I'm not attached to it. But what people are going to find is they're going to find a piece of their life in that story. And I tell stories of my own journey, my own life. And, my life would be a lot different today. See, I look at you and I see the blessing of you grew up in a chiropractic household, man, right? And you're a gentle, beautiful spirit because you've been living a clear life, okay? So you can look at someone's eyes and see that. To me, that's like the most grateful, glorious thing, that a gift. I mean, your father gave you being a chiropractor, bro. So we line up chiropractic kids and families around people who aren't getting adjusted. You just see a difference. And the book's going to bring them along a journey of, I had an amazing life as a young kid, and then things started falling apart. And then when Ronnie got subluxated, which we didn't know what it was, and his life fell apart, I went from visiting my brother and watching him pitch a no-hitter against Yale to visiting him at Cornell Medical in a dungeon. Overnight, his whole life slipped away. Now, it doesn't have to be that drastic. People wake up slowly, and they're just not happy. Their relationships suck. They're not sleeping well. They don't feel right. They don't feel clear, because they're walking around subluxated. So what the intention of the book is to do is to, one, explain what this thing is. What is a subluxation and what does it do? And then, one, how can it demolish someone's life? But two, how can it restore someone's life? And when people understand that journey, and they're reading the book, they have an option. If they're hearing this podcast, they have an option, right? Ronnie doesn't have the option. I mean, he's still alive. People say, is he dead? No, but they put him on so many drugs and medication, they had to pull out all his teeth because they rotted out his teeth. Your brain shrinks. He's good for like a 20-minute conversation. He's still a speaking, loving spirit, but his expression is diminished because of this thing. And I will always ask myself, what if someone got on that atlas and adjusted that baby? What would have changed? And I'll never have that chance. But people hearing this and reading the book have that chance to say, you know what? Let's lose the word belief. That's the thing that stops people, is fear and I don't believe. And say, you know what? Reach out to me. Reach out to you and say, we're going to put you in the hands of a competent chiropractor, someone who's not going to take your neck and twist it 380 degrees. but someone who's going to go in there and connect with you and adjust you, because it doesn't have to be painful, right? The key is to receive an adjustment, not get an adjustment. It should be a really cool experience, okay? You walk in my office, and there's people, I can rock their world. There's people that don't even feel like I'm doing anything because they just can't handle it. Their body's not ready for it, but they're still restoring life. So people reading the book are going to say, they're going to wake up. You know, at one point, the publisher wanted to change the title of the book, and I couldn't sleep for 3 days because he thought Wake Up Humans was pretty hardcore. And some people may say, well, I'm already awake. Well, people have to just take a deep breath and say, really, what's happening with my life, my family's life, my kids' life? Is Judson and Josh, are they full of shit, or is this stuff for real? And what if? And say, let's dive into this for 6 months and see what changes in our life. And I will guarantee you your life will get better. I know it will. If you're under the proper chiropractic care, life gets better. End of story. And when every human being in our country gets that, and of course I want the rest of the world to get it, but the United States is a sick, unhappy country, and that pisses me off, man, because I love my country. And when we get our young families and the kids under chiropractic care, man, they just give off love, they give off peace, they give off gratitude, and they perform at a higher level. So you're going to turn out better athletes. They're going to function better on the field. You're going to turn out better students that are clear and connected in the classroom, and they're absorbing life and giving off life instead of just dying slowly. Yeah,
I think that's so cool. That when you say give 6 months, people, it's not a quick fix. This is like, I don't want to say this is like magic, but when you unlock the potential of what's actually happening in the body, not, if Steve or I had to think like how many cells are being made right now in like my kidneys or my liver, or how many skin cells I just shed 3 minutes ago, we'd all be dead if we had to try to figure this stuff out. The intelligence of the body is beyond amazing. And I can tell you just my experience in life. I mean, I've been beat up pretty good as far as, being athletic, torn meniscus, all these different things. And I've always bounced back no matter what has happened in my life faster than anybody. And people go, well, what's your secret? The secret is I live this chiropractic lifestyle I've lived since birth, that I trust my body. I feel my body the right way. I hang around people that like to think the same way. And my body just knows what it needs to do as long as it's clear. And it's a crazy concept for people, but right? But it's almost too easy.
Well, this is where our profession needs to wake up, because you said it. It's a crazy concept for people. Why is it a crazy concept? Because we don't have enough chiropractors teaching the story, holding to the principle, educating people. That's the problem. But that's changing, because chiropractors are waking up and saying enough, and they're getting grounded, and they're saying people need to hear this message, and we all need to have our voice, because our voices are going to resonate with different groups of people. And if we come from a space of love, people are open to it, man. Like, people are realizing, all right, I don't want to end up like my grandmother and grandfather and my dad and what can I do differently? And they're starting to realize, you got me. Let me try this out. And when they do it, forget it. It's opening a can of worms in our society, which, if you look at all the great people out there, the greatest athletes, they all have a chiropractor on their team. And it's all about building a team. Like, chiropractic's not the answer for everything. You need to listen, if you got skin problems, go see a dermatologist. If you got a torn hamstring, go see a physical therapist. But if you got an atlas subluxation, there's only one dude that's going to fix that, and that's a chiropractor.
Yeah, it's true. And it's funny, we talk about this working all the time. It's not like, it might or no, it might not work. When you're clear of that misalignment, that subluxation, body shifts. And we, and I know I'm going to just mention, Sid Williams used to hold, and I remember this from being a kid, hold keys and drop the keys. Who would hold, just so you guys can picture this guy from the stage would hold a set of car keys or whatever keys and drop them to the ground. And that will happen 100% of the time, no matter what. If this guy lets his hand go, lets the keys go out of his hand, what's going to do? It's going to fall. So chiropractic's principle is no different than that. When the proper adjustment is performed, the body will always be better. Always. Always.
Now
100%.
you didn't have an option. You grew up in this. You grew up
Yeah.
walking around the back of a room with Sid Williams telling stories like that.
Yeah.
See, the majority of society doesn't hear that story until things like this. This is the beauty of, where we are now with technology. But if we can raise our kids and we're teaching them this principle since kindergarten, and that it's like gravity, it works every time. The body's designed perfectly. We just got to nurture it. I mean, if I told you right now, they just passed a law that, Josh, you can't get adjusted again, or you can't even get checked up until race day. Like, you can't even get adjusted. You're not allowed to.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
Yeah. I'm getting on a space shuttle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Once you have it, once you get it, you're not going to lose it. Once you feel the change, man, and you feel the power of your body, you're not going to let that thing disappear again. I promise you.
Yeah, this is so cool. So, Steve, I want to, this is a very focused question, but I usually ask all our guests, I look for like 3 golden nuggets, but I mean, we've gotten lots of nuggets here. So, I can't even ask you the question. I would say, what's the one thing that you'd have people do, and that would be get the atlas adjusted, to improve their lifestyle. What would be a first step for someone that's super, super skeptical? Like, I don't know, like maybe I should, maybe I shouldn't. What would you say to that one person that's very skeptical? And I know you say 6 months, and then listen, if I'm pretending I'm that skeptical person, I'm going to say you're out of your mind. What would be something we could tell that person that may be like really on the fence, like they can go either way? Like, what would you do? I'm putting you on the spot, but what would you do?
I'd pull out my phone, go on Amazon, and buy Wake Up Humans and read it.
Awesome.
Then I would contact Judson, who's going to ask you, where do you live? And I'm going to find you a chiropractor. And then you go and you listen to that chiropractor for 6 months and then talk to me. But you can't talk until 6 months is up. Just go. Show up, bring your kids, and let's see what happens. That's awesome. What I'm going to tell you.
Awesome. Love it. Love it. So everybody, Wake Up Humans, and for you chiros out there, Atlas adjusted. You all need this message. The world needs this message. Like Steve said, the U.S., where we live, like we're one of the sickest, if not the sickest country in the world. And that's one of my missions as a chiropractor and with Lifestyle Locker, to bring messages like this to the world, to the U.S., because there needs to be a shift. When the tide comes out, all the bad stuff and the good stuff is going to be shown. So we're going to start pulling that bad stuff out and then let the tide just fill with all the good. So, Steve, I want to thank you so much for sharing your message. I think the world is going to like this message, and the humans will definitely like this message.
Amen. Mission accomplished, brother.
Yeah, so cool. So we'll be sharing this, and we're going to connect you. I'll leave the links in our bio for the book, for both books, a way you can connect with Steve from his practice, through social media, all these different avenues. I'm not going to give you his cell or anything like that, but make sure you do connect with him, because he's a good guy. He's got a good heart. And if you don't sense through here that he's got a sense of purpose, that this guy's here for a big reason, listen again. But then you're going to go buy the book if you didn't buy it already. So, Steve, thanks so much, bro. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Josh. Had fun, man.
So, Locker Nation, I hope you are as inspired as I am with Dr. Steve Judson. Man, this guy is amazing to see on stage. Really cool to talk in person, and I'm super glad he got a book out, because this guy's got more energy. Some of us can't even deal with this kind of energy. It's pretty nuts. But he put this on paper for you so you can actually dive in and learn a little bit about unleashing your human potential, right? That's what Lifestyle Locker is about. I want you to be the best human you can be. Believe me, I want all other animals to be awesome too, but you know what? The ones that I can communicate with are humans. So I want all of you to have such an awesome lifestyle. So make sure you go out and get Dr. Steve's book. Connect with him on social media. All the links are in the show notes. And just so you know, if you want to find it on the website, it's lifestylelocker.com/Steve Judson. All right. One more time, lifestylelocker.com/Steve Judson. So for those of you that it's your first time, welcome. For those of you that it's your 77th time, welcome back. All right, y'all. See y'all soon. Bye-bye.